Hey, what is up, mortals? It is TheLuckyDerp here with a new video for you. In this video, we'll dive into Claw from the Mob Psycho 100 anime. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, just sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So let's get started. Claw, or Tsume in Japanese, was a terrorist organization that was run by Espers, humans with psychic powers. They recruited and increased their numbers to overthrow the world government. After their leader and founder, Tochiro Suzuki, was defeated, the organization is inactive. We will now go into how Claw operated. Claw's hierarchy included two higher echelons. The supposed true higher echelon was the Scar members. This consisted of the strongest combatants in the organization, which was composed of the strongest Espers. They were more reliable than the foot soldiers, as their psychic powers were more stronger and they possessed special techniques. For each division, there was one Scar leader who was the most powerful. The members gained their rank title when they defied and or challenged the boss and received a wound, earning them the title of Scar. According to the Scar's members, the scars they received were an acknowledgement that the boss was aware of their skills. Unbeknownst to them, the Scars actually marked them as useless and expendable in the organization. Once world domination was achieved, they would be wiped out. The Scar's members consisted of Matsuo, Megumi Kawama, Miyagawa Maraki, Muto, Mukai Tekuchi, Karada, Tsukuya, and Yosuke Sakurai. Yukita Fukushiro and Utsuki were former Scars that left Claw to join Sho's resistance. Let's take a look at the Scar members. Matsuo was a very creepy and eerie calm Esper who captured and controlled evil spirits, having an insatiable urge to catch any and every evil spirit that caught his eye. He was able to catch them by weakening his own spirit and using his life force to seal them in a vessel. Once under his control, they would obey his every command. Despite being powerful evil spirits, Matsuo gave his pets cute names. His first spirit was named Cookie-chan, and was a quadruped with a large head and countless eyes, along with a huge mouth with lots of sharp teeth. Cookie-chan loved eating stray spirits and would gain an eye for everyone it ate. With all that energy it had, Matsuo had to take it out for walks every night. Cookie-chan was eventually exorcised by Mob. Gum-chan was a small flying lizard-like spirit who was nimble flyer and its claws could easily cut through flesh. Gum-chan was also exorcised by Mob. Chocolate-chan was a large octopus spirit with one eye. Chocolate-chan was a female, according to Matsuo, due to the fact that she could find a handsome man, drain his life force, and return very happy. She was also exorcised by Mob. Caramel-chan was a giant skeleton with spikes protruding out of its skull, and was the final spirit that Mob exorcised. Candy-chan was a very complex spirit, having multiple heads, multiple arms, a face on its chest, and a smaller face along its groin area. Candy-chan was the most powerful spirit in Matsuo's possession, but also the most reckless. Due to this recklessness, the other spirits could not be let out while Candy-chan was active, with the risk of being eaten. It was exorcised by Regan, while he was 1000% gratitude powered. Whipped Cream-chan was a spider-like spirit with a man's head. Matsuo rarely used this spirit because of that. It grew old and less powerful. Pudding-chan was an extremely powerful spirit, previously being an Esper named Keiji Mogami, who was known as the greatest psychic of the 20th century. He was captured by Matsuo and later released by a Claw soldier being careless. Due to his immense power, he was able to keep his independence. Marshmallow-chan was an extremely powerful spirit that never made an appearance due to being eaten by Dimple. Megumi Kayama was a thuggish Esper who used his psychic abilities paired with hand-to-hand combat. Using telekinesis, he would power up his psychic attacks. His main technique was telekinetic helix, which creates a band of psychic energy that wraps around his arm and into his fist. This is a mostly passive ability that just makes his strikes harder. His self-proclaimed trump card is Energy Bomb, which comes with telekinetic helix. His psychic energy revolves around his arms and allows him to lariat his foes in the stomach. Miyagawa was a cocky and condescending Esper who had the ability of pyrokinesis. He psychokinetically generated very high-temperature flames that could be blocked by psychic barriers, but not their heat. He used his ability to torture his foes, giving them one or two choices. Either they could lower their barriers and be burnt to ashes, or they could just leave their barriers up and be cooked from the intense heat. Miyagawa had a heat resistance to a point, but was not immune to his own flame's full power. Miyaki was a powerful psychic who had the ability to have an out-of-body experience, along with creating multiple clones of himself, called Ethereal Body. His clone was capable of independent actions and speech, and could move through solid objects, but were also vulnerable to being blown away by strong attacks. Muta was a creepy Esper whose ability was illusion inducement, where he would put others through extremely vivid and terrifying hallucinations, making them bend to his will. He generally used his ability to keep prisoners in check, but would also use it against his enemies to terrorize them. His illusions were often personal traumatic memories for that specific person, such as when he showed Mob his past as an abused child. Rakai was a young girl who stuck out from the other scars. Although she had a cheerful and energetic personality, her special ability was very creepy. She controlled wooden puppets with her psychic puppetry ability, which were similar to the undead and would keep attacking their foes even if Bukai was knocked out. Takeuchi was a powerful and arrogant Esper who was considered to be the 7th Division's trump card. His special ability was Super Qui-Gon, which emitted an aura of ki from his body and allowing him to shoot powerful beams of psychic energy. His sub-technique, Super Destructive Energy Blast, was used by shooting a barrage of destructive ki blasts at once. Along with his abilities, he had strong enough telekinesis to move cars in the air. Terada was a skilled Esper, but also sly and played dirty in battle. His special ability, Air Whips, created 2 psychic energy whips with a maximum range of 60 meters. He could manipulate them simultaneously, and they were strong enough to rip out trees, and durable enough to hold the trees in midair. Tsuchiya was a strangely honorable and mother-like Esper, who was surprised at Mob's hesitation to fight her, due to being a woman, and encouraged him to fight her in a fair fight. Her special ability was Hardening Kigon, where she could concentrate the ki in her body to harden her muscles. This attack made her able to transmit her ki into her target by striking it and destroying it from the inside. Fifth Punch was a sub-technique, allowing Tsuchiya to stun the enemy with one strike before following up with a second one. Her follow-up punch was strong enough to make Shimazaki crash through several buildings. Yusuke Sakurai was one of the 7th Division's most powerful Espers. He used his telekinesis to manipulate objects and enhance his physical abilities. His main power was placing psychic curses on objects, making them more dangerous, a technique called Jugon, or curse toys. His Jugon sword was a mere plastic sword that was turned into a dangerous weapon after having multiple psychic curses placed on it. The sword was extremely light, but sharp enough to cut through almost anything. Even when not physically holding it, Sakurai could utilize its slashes with his telekinesis. His Jugon airgun was proclaimed as his strongest weapon, an airgun that shot psychically charged air bullets. The rounds appear as small blasts of red energy, but could be stopped if strong enough telekinesis was used against them. His cursed chamber would turn a room into his territory, being able to steal away the psychic power of the person inside, which would render the person powerless. His final Jugon was Cursed Cologne, a spray that would knock the target into a state of sleep. It was strong enough to knock Mob out even while he was at 100% animicity, and Sakurai had multiple bottles of the spray. The true upper echelon higher than the Scars was revealed to be Ultimate 5. These members were extremely powerful and possessed many unique abilities, along with being the ones who were trusted by the boss and worked directly under him. Katsuya Shirazawa was considered the strongest of the Ultimate 5, and acted as Shizaki's personal bodyguard. His power is strong enough to where he blocked an attack from Shizaki at 3% of his power output. He was also strong enough to fight Mob and held the edge for most of their battle. His unique ability was Umbrella Psychokinesis, an extremely strong psychokinesis that he channeled through his umbrella to make a powerful weapon for melee or ranged battle. It could be used as a shield or as a bludgeon. Using the umbrella, he could charge an energy ball with the destructive powers at the tip and launch at his enemies. He originally used his umbrella as a conduit for his power, but was later able to control his power on his own. His psychic aura and energy appear as glowing purple TV static. Ryo Shimazaki was another extremely powerful Esper who considered himself to be the strongest in the world, second only to the boss. As one of the main enforcers of Claw, he was tasked with kidnapping the Prime Minister. Shimazaki possessed multiple psychic abilities, along with incredible resilience. He suffered no damage from taking a punch from Higashiro's Rumble Golem. His telekinesis paired with his psychic attacks, making them strong enough to destroy even buildings. He's also one of the few people in the universe who can use 2 psychic abilities at once. What if Shimazaki's abilities is teleportation? He can teleport very quickly in the blink of an eye, and can take things with him that he is holding onto, including people. He also has extra sensory perception and the ability to predict a foe's movements. Using his perception, he can count the numbers of cameras and people in a room. Using his extrasensory perception, he can predict when an enemy is going to attack him and teleport out of the way, or raise a psychic protective barrier. These abilities are hindered, however, when he is distracted, as seen when Taruki and Ritsuo use it to their advantage. His final ability is his super sensory zone, Mind's Eye. When he concentrates hard enough to use his antennae to focus, he can sharpen his extrasensory perception to see other Esper's aura. In this state, Shimazaki can pinpoint his foes' vital areas and attack them, forcing them to collapse with the result of blurry eyesight, constricting pupils, and twitching limbs. Using his Mind's Eye, Shimazaki stopped the resistance group's attack and defeated them all at once. Unfortunately, also in this state, he is not aware of anything besides what he is focusing on and is vulnerable to attacks. Toshiki Minagashi is a member of the Ultimate Five, with extremely strong psychic abilities. Their ability was chlorokinesis, which allows them to create and control plant matter. Even being in a concrete terrain, their control over flora allowed them to fight Fukuda, Higashiro, and Otsuki with ease. Their power usually manifests in the form of a giant vine, trees, and giant Venus flytraps. According to Minagishi, they could grow an entire jungle out of concrete if they so pleased. Plants were their entire offense and defense, along with their strength and weakness at the same time. Reigning control of the plants would render Minagishi defenseless, but if someone was caught by the plants, they'd be strangled and their life force would be drained. The fourth member of the Ultimate Five was Hashiro Shibata. He used his psychic abilities to send signals to his muscles, forcing them to expand and overpower himself. With this ability, named Psychosteroid, he was one of the strongest Espers, able to survive being shot in the face and wake up from Sakurai's sleeping curse. In a fight where Dimple possessed Mob, Shibata easily matched his strength and punched hard enough to break through his strongest barrier and undo the possession. Shibata was overpowered by Dimple possessing Goda and was defeated by Ishiguro. Shibata was overpowered by Dimple possessing Goda and was defeated by Ishiguro when he woke up. If Shibata was knocked unconscious, his brain continues to send signals to his muscles, which causes them to expand without stopping. Now that we have covered the most noteworthy members of Claw, let's move on to the operation of the organization. Claw HQ was the most important division in the hierarchy, consisting of Toshiro Suzuki, the Ultimate Five, the Antenna Team, lower-ranking subordinates, and 600 Esper soldiers. Matsuo reveals that the 600 members were originally non-Espers, and Suzuki imbued them with his power, making them powerful enough to destroy buildings as a group. When preparing for world domination, Suzuki hired 10 foreign mercenaries from around the world, who were supposedly a match to Claw's strongest Espers. These mercenaries eventually turned against the organization and were taken out by the Ultimate Five. After the government attempted to send someone to assassinate Suzuki, Claw's army was funded by many religious cults, which included the Amaterasu House, Creation Tree, Karma Club, Future Outlook Board, and more. The cults were founded by the organization 20 years earlier due to impressing their followers with their psychic powers. To ensure their financial sponsorship, Claw promised a position for them after the world was conquered. Amaterasu's house main building was to be used as a conference room before the plans for world domination began. The Antenna Team consisted of Espers who specialized in extrasensory perception, created by Suzuki to keep tabs on all internal and external activities. When Claw attempted world domination, the Antenna Team monitored the battle and stayed in contact with the Ultimate Five, and searched for Espers throughout seasoning cities. There were 7 divisions of Claws which were led by Tamaki, Furotachi, Ebiwara, Yanagawa, Sakakibara, Igarashi, and Ishiguro, respectively. The 7th Division was originally located in Japan and was disbanded after Sho deemed its members to be too weak to send to Claw HQ. At the time of its disbandment, 11 Scars were working in the division, while the other division leaders were not very noteworthy. Ishiguro set quite a challenge for Mob. Using his telekinesis, he could create psychic waves and barriers, along with gaining a short bit of flying ability. He was extremely durable, able to survive being shoved through a dense wall by gratitude-enhanced Regan, and not taking any damage. His psychic aura was a red glow with vertical lines running through it. Ishiguro's main ability was the manipulation of gravity. With this, he could change the force of gravity around a person, object, or location. This was strong enough to make Mob drop to his knees. With his power over gravitational force, he could create mini black holes that sucked up and destroyed everything that came in contact with it. 500 kilogram tackle was an ability where Ishiguro increased his gravity to bring his mass to 500 kg and tackled his enemy with the full force. 1 ton punch was similar, except Ishiguro increased the mass of his fist to metric ton. 2 ton guillotine was the same as the last two, except he would increase the mass of his arms by 2 metric tons and would chop the neck of the enemy with immense force. After Claw was shut down, its members generally went in to live in normal lives. From the scars, Megumu Kawama and Yusuke Sakurai were hired at Smile Mart, where Sakurai used his curse to create Jugen Odin tongs and keep customers under control to serve Odin. From the Ultimate 5, Katsuya Shirazawa began working at the Spirits and Such consultation office. Toshiki Minagishi began working as a florist at the flower shop, and Nozomu Hattori began working at a computer support and service company. Hiroshi Sabata's muscles atrophied immensely and is constantly job searching, although he gets rejected when he mentions that he was part of the Ultimate 5. As of right now, it is unknown where Tochi Suzuki is, along with other former members of Claw. Now for some trivia. There were a few changes to Claw in the Mob Psycho 100 anime. Specifically, it gained a logo and lost the antenna team. Tochiro Suzuki and Mob have been the only two Espers in the series who have shown the ability to absorb and transfer psychic energy. In an OMAC, Suzuki put his plans for world domination on hold after hearing the news of One Punch Man's anime adaptation airing on TV. Katsuya Shirazawa dislikes spicy food, regularly eats cups of noodles, is fond of children, and has not told his mother of his involvement with Claw. He apparently never used his umbrella to shield himself from the rain. His voice actor says he imagines him as a blood type AB, a Taurus, and born in April. When fans of the manga translated to English, Toshiki Minagishi was referred to as a male, but in the anime, gender-neutral pronouns are used. In the anime, Igoro's 500 kilogram tackle was actually 2,000 kg. 1 ton punch consists of multiple attacks with his mass of 500 kg, and his 2 ton guillotine was 1,000 kg. Tsuchiya came from an ancient dojo and is assured that while training there, she learned her hardening Kigon technique. The method Matsuo uses to capture spirits is similar to catching Pokemon, in that he weakens them with his own spirit before throwing a psychic canister at them to trap them in. Matsuo's spirit are extremely jealous of each other, and will cannibalize whichever spirit is getting the most attention from him. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has got you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What Ifs retell the story of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, then I'd like to extend an invitation to join our team. The only caveat being that we only accept members from 16 years and up to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day.